Hey everybody, good morning. Today we're going live with Kipo Every Day, a site that I have had such a good time checking every one of the highlights of my day. What's up, folks? Morning.
Hey,
Hello. How's it going?
good.
Man, I like the shirt. Is it the
Oh yeah,
full
thanks.
is it the full image? Wow, where'd you get
Yeah.
that from?
Um, my friend Yavi made it.
Okay.
I don't. Their okay. Yeah, their account name is kind of weird. It's like Shiri Wabi or something. It's like really
Oh,
weirdly
yeah,
spelled.
send it to me in the thing. I want to get that. That looks good. That's a good quality one, dude. I gotta say thanks, man. I love the posts you put. It's like so fun to see every day. Even as the creator, I'm having a blast watching everything that you post.
Yeah, thanks.
All the great memes. I realize I only know you as Kipo every day. Tell me what's your name. We'll start
Um,
there.
yeah, my name's Josh.
Okay, that's dope. And are you an artist or a creator yourself?
I guess kinda draw some. I'm not really good at drawing, but sometimes I do draw. I mainly do like video editing.
Oh, okay.
I do video editing for the What's Up Fandom podcast sometimes, which I think
Oh,
you and
yeah.
Bill were on.
Yeah, that's great. Are you local to LA or are you somewhere else?
No, I live on like the opposite. I live in North Carolina.
Oh, wow. What's life like out in North Carolina?
Basically, nothing really happens here. Yeah,
Yeah. It seems like you guys have there's a little bit of a music scene, I guess.
kinda. I wouldn't really know a lot about that. I live in like a weird place that there's like stuff, but it's like in random spots. Kind of weird.
Okay. My mom moved up to this place called Modesto in California. And it's like if you drive between Los Angeles and San Francisco, it's all just farmland. But there might be similar types of cities where they're kind of between the farms. They're like kind of a
Yeah,
city, but not like a big city. There's like maybe
yeah,
one
like
movie
that.
theater somewhere. You seem to be a fan of the show.
Yes, I might be a fan.
How did you find it? I'm just curious. Like, did a friend recommend it? Did
Um,
it?
it's kind of a weird story. So I'm on like a swim team that happens every winter. The place we go to for swim meets is like really far away, and we have to ride a bus to actually get back since it's so
Yeah.
far. So we just have like a lot of downtime before we can get on the bus again.
Okay.
So I'll just be browsing like Netflix, and I look at the coming soon tab, and I see Kipo.
Okay.
And the weird thing is, okay, and like I had it set to remind for like about a month, and I got the reminder, and then I started watching it. But I don't think I actually was gonna watch it until I saw that Joanne Jett was in the credits. I don't even know why, because I don't know anything about Joanne Jett. I just know her name. I don't
Yeah,
know why that
JoJo.
made me want to watch it, but it did.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
Joan?
Yeah. So
Oh, I keep, okay.
you were like, oh, this rock star's in it. I maybe I'll check it out now.
Yeah. And I think the main thing that like intrigued me about it was the plot of it from the Netflix description and also the animation. It
Okay.
kind of reminded me of like gorillas, like
Yeah.
the poster I have behind me.
Oh, nice.
Um,
That's great. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of gorillas, and I remember early in my career, like in my 20s, I was even kind of mimicking the drawings at one point because I love that style so much. So like a lot of my early, like maybe when I was like 20, 21, my drawings kind of looked like that style. So yeah, the
yeah.
influence is still there. So then you watched it. Were you? I know some people see the first couple episodes and they're like, nah, I don't know. Or were you like, oh, this is dope?
I watched episode one like one night, and then a few days later, I watched episode two, and then also at another swim meet, I watched episode three while we were doing nothing, and
Yeah.
then that night, I watched the whole season at, like
Okay.
right after that. It took a little warming up to, but then I really got into it.
It's funny because it's like we heard that a lot after the fact. The third episode, people started to get into it. So sometimes people would tell their friends, okay, just watch it. You might not be that into it, but it gets cool, you know? And I think in the first two episodes, we played it so like almost like just music happening and mystery and like you kind of don't know what's happening for a while.
Yeah, I
Mi-
I showed it. I remember about like a month after I first watched it, I showed it to some friends at a friend's house when COVID wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Um, I showed it to them, and one of them had no idea what was going on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
I didn't tell him what the show was. I just said, "Hey, watch this," and then he was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, if I did another show, I might try to help people understand what's happening a little earlier because that does like some people would watch the first one and like be like I don't get this and check out, and then people would tell them no, go back and keep going, and then
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh no, I love it. Did you have when you watched the first season? Did you have a favorite episode?
Episode 9 is like always my favorite episode. It always has been.
Yeah, that's definitely even out of all 30, that's still my favorite. And
I just really like the stuff with Wolf and the relationship with Jamak and Kipo in that episode.
yeah, yeah. So you draw like a little bit. I mean, you seem like you're pretty young. I can't tell this these days, like how young people are. But are you in college or are you in high school or what are you
Um,
doing?
I'm a I'm a 17 junior in high school.
Okay. Is that something you're thinking about going into when you get out of high school, like going into filmmaking, editing, that type of stuff?
Yeah, something with. I want to do something with filmmaking. I'm not. I want to try to do like a ton of different stuff. I'm trying to do both writing and like drawing, maybe animation because I haven't really done enough with that yet,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other stuff. I've written 3 scripts, and I did the air quotes for that because I really just have like a soundtrack and a really weird outline of what happens
Yeah.
in them.
Have you gotten into using Final Draft at all?
Final Draft is a script writing app on phone, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could download it for your lap. Like people use it on their laptop. I personally use it on my phone more than my laptop.
I remember you mentioning that in like a tweet once, but I think I tried to do it, and I have an Android and you have an iPhone, and I
Yeah.
don't think it's on Android.
Oh, is it not on Android? Oh, that's a
I
bummer.
don't think it is. I found something that I think is similar, but I'm not sure because I have no idea what Final Draft looks like.
Yeah, there's one called like Celtics. There's one called Writer Duet. There's a couple different ones that are pretty close. I'm looking in the comments section to see if anybody is asking us any questions.
There's a lot of people telling me to talk about group chats that I'm in.
When the show first came out, somebody asked me to join their group chat, and I was like, sure, and I joined, and then like I'm like a 40-year-old dude, and it was a bunch of like 16-year-old girls talking about their dating life, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna leave now because
That'd be a good idea.
yeah, like this really is not of interest any interest to me. Let's see, what do you recommend for scenes that are scripted to a beat or music? I mean, I guess there's two different kinds. There's one where the lyrics are literally written into the script and the character is going to be singing the lyrics. And then we usually get the song made before we board it. So you can actually do the performance like to the real final song. I don't know that the writers typically have a song in mind when they're writing any other type of scene. So, like, if it's just a song happening in the background, a lot of times I may be, if I'm storyboarding it or a board artist is boarding it, we may be playing the song to kind of put us in the mood. But a lot of that really comes down to the editor. So, like, I may mention a song I think works well. Rich Liverance was our editor for a lot of the early stuff, and when we were kind of setting the tone. And so, like, I might mention a song I like, and then he would kind of edit it like perfectly to the music, and then we would find another song that had a similar beat to replace it that we could afford like later. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's a lot. I'm actually talking to Rich, so I have an online school where I teach boarding, but I'm bringing in like writers and editors so you could just finish like a full animatic. But I was talking to Rich. He's probably going to teach a class I'll have up soon on editing. But the hope would be like you take the writing class and you take the boarding class, you take the editing class, you'd have a full, your full 22-minute animatic. But he uses like Adobe Premiere, I think, is like what everyone in TV
Yeah,
is using.
that's actually what I use. I haven't like animated a lot of stuff. But that's what I use for video editing most of the
Yeah.
time. Premiere and most Adobe products.
Yeah. So you drop in individual drawings and you
Yeah.
just I guess you keyframe the timing for how long each drawing's on screen.
Yeah, you can set how many frames it stays up or if it moves or
Yeah.
whatnot.
And then he lays in all the dialogue and music and sound effects, so it feels like you're watching pretty close to like the final movie. It's dope. So we'll watch that, and then if we need to change stuff, we'll reboard little pieces here and there. There's been times where we've reboarded like half the episode because we didn't like it. Will we ever get to know what kills Dave? I mean, isn't that part of the fun that you don't know? Do you really want to know?
I like to
uh,
think that whatever kills Dave is like actually something really dumb, like if you just
yeah,
touch him in a weird spot.
yeah. Can we have character heights, please? Oh, that's an
I,
interesting one. I
didn't you
think
say? I think in like you said, Kipo was like 5'2" a long time
probably.
ago.
I think Aang, our art director, might, or Dan, our character designer, they might actually have written it. It might be like charted. I'd have to ask them if they put it in like some kind of chart so you knew who's higher. Because there's
Hmm.
definitely there's like height charts so you know like how high everyone is relative to each other. The cats are actually like way taller. They're like 9 or 10 feet tall or something. Like if they were in real life. So you're already doing a lot of editing. Editing's kind of a dope job. It's definitely like it's rewarding faster. So like if you're storyboarding, it's like 6 weeks before of working all day long before you have like something you could look at. And then when you hand that off to the editor, within like 3 days, you could just watch it and it's like, oh, they put music and sound effects and like you feel like you finished something quicker.
The thing with editing though is that depending on like what you have to do with it, it does take long, and
Yeah.
some of it's kind of complicated, but it's a lot easier to do in that regard. Yeah.
I guess I'm saying it's just faster than like animating or boarding, like in terms of the
Well, yeah,
different
I meant
departments.
faster, not easier. I
Yeah, yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely like it's also. Do you play music?
I do. I have a euphonium over there that I play, which is basically just a weird mix between a trumpet and a tuba.
Wow.
And then I have a saxophone I haven't played in like 2 years, and I'm trying to play piano. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the editors that they're good at the timing. A lot of them are musicians. Like Rich is also a musician. So like if you have a natural instinct for music, it means you might be pretty good at editing as well. Is there a Burrow rule? You can only have one kid in a family. In my mind, they all were clones of each other. Like it was just generational cloning. Like nobody mated. That's that was my logic. Because otherwise, you're gonna end up with a bunch of like it's a family tree that goes straight up. How did you develop the character designs over time? I design things with a gut reaction. So I draw it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I keep messing with it, I hate it, and then I don't hate it, and then it's done, and that's the design you see. So what else is going on in North Carolina? Are you guys like what's the main thing that comes out of there? Is it a farming place? Is it
Um,
a tech place? Like what's going on
well,
out
like
there?
I said, we're in like this really weird spot where it's not like a city or just nothing. It's just this weird mix mash of stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of that's come out that I actually know of is like I have a ton of people who go to my school who do really weird YouTube videos for some reason.
Okay.
They're not like really famous people. I mean, but they're like small. But
Hmm.
like there's a lot of them, and I don't know why.
Okay.
I guess that's really all I can say. Just weird YouTube content.
Everybody wants to be a YouTube star because there's like not much else to do.
Yeah, I actually I have a YouTube channel. I've never like shared it, but I do have
Oh,
one.
okay. That's cool. What
So
kind of stuff do you talk about? Do you play or what do you call
um,
that? I've already
I
forgotten what it's
do
called.
on the YouTube thing. I usually do a mix of like it's just either me playing a game or something. Like I edit
Okay.
it, or I talk about a game or show or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really about it.
I had this buddy I worked with, and I've never played video games. Like I as a kid I played Super Mario Brothers, but it scrolled left to right, and I never really played again. Maybe Tony Hawk Pro Skater. But I had this buddy at work, and he was like, "Oh man," he just started talking about video games like I knew what he was talking about. And he's like, "No, come here, look." And he's playing videos for me of him playing. And I'm just like, "Why would I want to watch this, dude?" And it turned out he like traveled to like play professionally, like to
Oh,
Korea and shit for, I don't know, was it called StarCraft or something like that? Is that a game?
yeah. I
uh,
think that's like really popular in Korea.
yeah. And
I don't, I don't, I don't really make videos where I just like play a game. I'm not that good at games to do that. I'm
okay.
best I can do is I can record like 1,000 hours and then edit it down into like 6 minutes of funny stuff.
Oh, okay. Dude, my wife and like all her friends, they're all like super into gaming. So it was funny, like when we had a baby, my kid's like 4 now, but she'd put on her headset and like her and all her girlfriends, and she'd like, take the baby, I'm playing these video games. So I'm like holding the baby, and she's like playing like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you, playing God, what is it called? Destiny with like
Oh,
all her friends, and then like we'd all hang out, and all the girls are talking about Destiny, and all the dudes are off in the corner, like we don't know any. None of us know anything about video games.
someone asked me how did I get into editing. A few years ago, my school offered like an Adobe class for video editing.
Oh,
Well, not
nice.
just video editing, but also like Photoshop and stuff. And I did that. They don't have the class anymore, but for some reason they allow me to have every Adobe product for free until I'm out of high school.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
why. I'm not in any Adobe class, but they do. Oh, and I was gonna say this earlier, but I forgot to. I started this like the Kipo account like a month after I had actually watched the show, and I only started because like I hadn't seen enough promotion of it like anywhere, and the only fan account I knew of that existed was my friend Ryan, who I think their account name now is Kipo Love, Kipo underscore
Okay.
Love, or whatever. Yeah, I think it used to be like Timber Kitty or something. It was weird. They changed it like a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm curious about the choice to being Margot back in season 3. We even wrote Margot into the ending of that season. Like we got asked to take it out, so then we went back and made her get turned into a wolf, just because otherwise it was like, uh, what happened? um, let's see. What was your thought process behind the show, and how did you think it was going to develop? When they tell you they're going to make the show, it's like, we got the green light. You start next week. You show up, you got an office. Here's the schedule. You just hit the ground running. You feel like you're flying at a million miles an hour. Like, it's funny because I'm doing like another business venture right now. And let's say you're going to pay somebody to do something and it's kind of expensive. You talk about it and you'll wait like a day to make the decision and think it over. There's like none of that when you're making a show or a movie because you're flying so fast. It's just like, what are we going to do? We're doing this. Okay. What are we doing here? We're doing this. Okay. You're just like, like at a thousand miles an hour. And you're just going, oh shit, should we have done that? Oh, I guess it's too late. Like you don't have time to really think anything over. Do
Yeah.
you see any good questions in here?
Um, no, not really. I'm just kind of looking. There's not really a lot of. I didn't mean to say it like exactly like that. I saw this a minute ago. Someone said, "I don't know who these two people are," which I don't know how you're on this screen if you don't know how either of us
I
are.
know. How did you find us if you don't know either of us? um, my name is Rad. I created Kipo. Josh
I am.
created a fan
Um,
account.
yeah.
My
What'd
daughter
you say?
is visiting right now.
Oh,
She's trying to sneak in here. That's dope that you had that editing class. Like, I kind of have found if I ever need to learn something, I just like wait just a sec because I'm getting crazy knocking. Hey babe, can you help me out? Oh man, work from home with a kid is freaking gnarly. I always go like it just like go to the YouTube videos. It's like it's crazy. I'm like, okay, I need to learn After Effects so I can make a short film. I guess I'm just gonna type in like how to animate in After Effects in YouTube, and it's by the end of the day, it's like you're a professional. Like,
Yeah, I, I don't think I learned anything from that class at all. Like, I mean, I learned how to drag something into the timeline,
yeah,
and that's about it. That's all I learned, and then everything else I just taught myself because I looked it up on YouTube.
yeah, it's crazy. By the time I was done like looking shit up, I could build a three-dimensional set and move a camera through it and animate a character through it. I'm like, this is this is insane. Because like when I was in high school, I don't think the internet wasn't really out yet. Like it was like there, my neighbor had gotten a computer, and we all went to his house, and all it was like a chat room, and you just could pretend to be somebody and chat with random strangers. And then there wasn't, that was it. That was like all there. I don't even think there was like people used, what is it, instant messenger. I don't even think that was out yet. And then I went off to college, and I actually had to learn to type like in college. So like
Okay.
the fact that if you're a kid in high school now, you could be like, I'm gonna learn Blender. You could just go on YouTube and just learn it and make your own freaking film. Like, is
Yeah.
so nuts.
Okay, wait. Someone is saying, like, screaming in the chat that they need to know something. They said, I don't know what they're asking. They said, why punk Inuit throat singing on the soundtrack? How did you find out? Actually,
That was our music supervisor, James. He would just bring us like these dope songs. So like there
uh,
was a band of native, God, I'm trying to remember where they were from. It might have been like Canada. Um, but they did a style of music that was traditional. I think they're mentioning Inuit. It was like this traditional, like kind of sound that almost sounded like a throat singing type of a thing. And they were a punk band, and they just mixed their like sort of classic traditional style of music with punk music. So he would bring us stuff like that that just sounded cool. We're like, dude, hell yeah, we gotta throw this in. Because James knew I was down for anything that was like not traditional. So I'd be like, let's throw in a French hip hop song or whatever it was. So he's like, oh, you want to do that? Oh, let me show you the kind of crazy stuff I have that nobody uses. Casting and doing the music was the most fun. All right. So so you play instruments. Are you also like a big fan of music, or you just like to play?
well, I have a Gorillas poster, so yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Uh, I have like a really weird taste in music. I have a playlist that I think starts with samba music, and the most recent thing I added to it was like trap metal, which I'm not sure if that's a genre, but that's what it sounds like.
Wait, it's called what?
It's the most recent song I added was like a metal song that sounds like it has trap music
Oh yeah,
combined with it.
yeah. Like God, there's a couple dudes that are dope. Ghost Main, like that kind of thing.
I guess I think I know who that is. I think I've heard a few of their songs. I'm not sure.
We used Ghost Main as sort of a reference when we did the episode where you go to the to meet the snakes. Is that episode 4 maybe? Because like the snakes were rockers, but like I'm not like a huge fan of just straight up rock music. Like I like some songs. Like I love, if there's a great song, it's a great song. But I was a little nervous of like you go to this rocker place and it's just like straight rock music. So we looked at Ghostman, who mixes like trap with like death metal. We kind of use
Yeah.
that. So there's like a little bit of like that trap feel to it, even though it's like rock music.
Some people asked about older Asher and Dahlia.
Yeah, we never designed that. I think we definitely were limited by we had like counts. Like you can design one more character this episode, or you could design one more background. So that didn't fall within our budget to design those particular characters. I mean, you saw the hairstyle change. I think it would probably go even more stylistic changes. Are there any characters you wish got more fan art? I'm trying to think what the best. I love seeing Wolf fan art is always dope. I think also because the fans for Wolf seem to be pretty passionate about that character. There's a lot of dope stuff they do with her. If you had unlimited budget, how much more would have been added? Dude, I kind of the thing we never got to do that I wish we would have got to do is we always wanted to do these episodes that Kipo wasn't in. Like we wanted to do a full Javak episode or like a full Benson and Troy go off to look for a tape episode or like a full where you just literally it's Mondu vision. And you just like do an episode where Mondu does something. We never were able to do anything like that. That would have been cool. We probably would have gone to more places too. Like you noticed by second and third season, we were kind of stuck to locations because we couldn't afford to do more locations. So we probably would have
Yeah.
gone to more places. I am hoping to do, I've talked about this before, but I am hoping to do some comic book stuff. So hopefully there's some more stuff coming. I know
How
like
many
we have,
comic ideas do you think you actually have? Because I know you mentioned the Oz one, the Kip Asher one, the Wolf one, and
I
that's really all I
think,
can think.
I think for sure I want to co-write or write a Wolf one and the Oz one. But I think I'll talk to the publisher about just doing other series that maybe I don't write them, you know, but so that there can be a lot of the world being explored would be cool.
It'd be cool to see like some kind of like not just a graphic novel like most of the other ones you mentioned, just like a monthly or weekly issue style comic.
Yeah, I
That'd
think
be cool.
that's something I'm assuming the publisher might be interested in doing where they hire like a writer and a crew of artists and it's just kind of every single month it's coming out. I think that'd be pretty cool. Just like
Yeah.
exploring other places that we didn't see in the show.
Like after Kipo ended, I needed like something post-apocalyptic to look at, so I started watching The Walking Dead. Then when it got horrible, I
Uh,
started reading the comics, and I thought it would be really cool if Kipo had like a sort of issue thing like this.
yeah, it would that I hope that happens. I like the idea of doing too, like I don't know, just doing a story about what happened over in Japan or what happened over in some other country and you're just following some characters along. It's in the same world, but it doesn't
Yeah,
have
I'd
anything to
really
do with
I'd
the
really
show.
like to see how stuff is going on in like other places around the world.
Yeah.
Just because there's a ton of animals and that are like regional that would probably look really cool.
Yeah, you go to China and it's just the Kung Fu Panda movie. Uh, are you planning to go to school for something? Did you answer that already?
I'm going to college. I'm not really sure what for yet.
Yeah.
Probably maybe something with engineering. Like
What draws you to the idea of, I did mechanical engineering. What, or a lot of people who get into that, they grew up doing a lot of Legos or they did grew up buildings like a lot of stuff. Are you into that type of thing?
I used to do that when I was young, but I think I would be doing like stuff with computers mostly,
Hmm.
like coding and whatever.
Oh, so you might do more like computer engineering compared to
Yeah, that's what
mechanical.
yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool because you could always like I had some friends that actually ended up back in film because they were coding like for computer animated films. I did. Do you do any coding now?
Kinda. I made a few websites using code, and I think like a year ago, I haven't done it in a while. I think I made it like a year ago. I made a map for Counter Strike, maybe. I don't remember some game on
Okay.
computer. I made a map, and it's mostly, and I did it. There's like a way to do it, like not with code, where it's just you put the stuff in and whatever. But I mostly did it with code just to try and teach myself.
When I was in college, they made us take like a C++ programming class. No one knew had any clue what the hell the teacher was talking about. He just write these equations on the board, and we're like, we don't understand how this works. Like, we're just supposed to like memorize this and like type. I'm like, what is happening? And then I had Flash at the time, and I made a video game that involved like gravity, so I had to learn what a loop was. and like what the shit was. And then I'm like, oh, that's what he's doing. Why doesn't he just tell us that? Like, it's simple. And then I had to sit there and explain to the other kids in my class, okay, it runs here. If there's an if statement, you set it, it'll just go to whatever the if is. Like, if it's 3, if it's a positive number, go to this equation. If it's a negative number, go to this equation. I'm like, it's simple. Why didn't you just tell us what it is? Like why were you just writing? He was just sitting up there writing the equation. Okay, memorize this. You're like, what is happening? That's a good thing about YouTube now is like you don't have to depend on those terrible teachers.
Except when the only video you can, except unless it's like a really niche thing you're trying to find and the only instructor has no idea what they're talking about. Like I keep having, sometimes I'll have to like look up stuff and I keep getting this one guy who, I saw a comment that described it perfectly. The guy talks, he like describes how to edit videos as if he's a cop talking to someone. It's really weird, and I hate finding his videos, but he's like the only one who does it.
Yeah, just the sound of his voice is bad, or he just doesn't explain
The
stuff
sound
well.
of his voice, and he constantly like says things over, and then like he like constantly repeats stuff in like a weird. I don't know. I'm not good at describing stuff normally.
I had a buddy that taught a class, and I sat in on the class, and it was like 4 hours. And afterwards, I was like, bro, I would have taught that class in 1 hour. You just said the same thing over and over for an hour, like, in like multiple ways. It's too niche. Looking up procedural nodes. Yeah, I guess there is some rabbit holes you go down that there aren't enough people that have figured it out yet. Everything I've tried to figure out, I guess, is more at a base level. Like After Effects, so many people are using it that there's just so much. Blender's newer. What do you recommend for people who want to have their own show someday? Take a lot of writing classes. Um, the drawing, it's like, I mean, you could always hire people to draw, but if you don't have a solid understanding of a good, like, character story, that type of stuff, that's where everything falls apart, you know? Because if you're out pitching and it's just like good looking drawings, they don't care. Like if it's mediocre drawings, but it's a good solid idea, they're more interested in that. All right, man, I gotta run because I've got a family thing happening right now.
Okay.
But this was fun, dude. It was good chatting with you.
Yeah, it was.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
And thanks everybody for joining. All right. Keep an
Bye.
eye out for Keep Every Day.